welcome to this video where we're going to talk about the new audiovisual micronarratives from memes to GIFs. These are the contents of this lecture. We're going to deal with the concept of ephemera in the digital context, how memes and GIFs represent the current ephemera in the digital world, what are the futures, what is the ephemeral content in media, what we should archive for the future, and if ephemera or this ephemera information can be also an information source. So let's stop in the concept of audiovisual micronarratives. These are kind of modern forms of expression that reveals social and cultural habits. They show how we relate with information and how we consume information, and a way of they show how we understand the world. These examples are memes, GIFs, for example, and other different presence that we have in social media, for example, tweets or posts. Let's see the definition of traditional ephemera. Here we have a definition from Pemberton in 70s. They're documents that were produced for a specific event or topic, not meant to outlive their moment. So there are documents that they're not designed to be preserved, or let's say to have an impact in a preservation way. So in an etymological way, we can say that epi is around and ephemera means day. So there are documents that were produced just for a short period of time. These are, for example, posters, all the documentation regarding publicity, invitation flyers, tickets, and so on. Here we have an example about laundry soap as a kind of publicity about this product. So these are ephemera. What will be ephemera today? This kind of digital micronarrative. They are often anonymous. They are volatile, and they're very strictly dependent to the context. They're context dependent. So not everyone should understand the same using these digital objects. We need to refine ephemera nowadays, and we can say that memes or GIFs are our current ephemera. Why we should study digital ephemera? Because they represent units of information in this digital world, even if it's a very quick or viral context. They represent information. They're always presenting different digital mediums. Imagine press or social media, they are always present, so they have a meaning. And they are transforming traditional communication strategies. Even in newspapers, articles contain this kind of memes to represent some of the social positions regarding a topic, for example. And if we talk about preservation, should we preserve this narrative as information source? Let's think about they are always reflect shared humor, so they reflect a way of laughing about the reality. They can be trivial, but however, they are saying how a society is behaving and how a society is reacting about or against certain topics. So they're part of the collective memory. They're particular in this kind of digital culture. Memes and GIFs are digital artifacts from the beginning. So they have very particular features. Regarding communication, they are powerful social communicators. They are like a driver for a quick communication between individuals. They can also be a genre. Let's say from journalists, for example, they were means of communication that contain always memes, or that helps to a kind of audience to engage with content. The term comes from mimema. It's always this is a Greek term that means which is imitated, and it has a biological origin from Dawkins in 1978-6. So if we try to understand the meme, we have to say that it's viral, that is something that is easily shared, comment on, and recontextualized. They depend a lot about the context. It's something mutable as a cultural unit. And it's not just consume, it's something that can be seen as transmedia object, because one individual can create it, but other can transform it and give other different and additional meaning. So this is the way that it's important to say that they depend always to the content, and that memes can be always recontextualized. They're not just consumed, as we say. Despite their humor and simplicity, they can be creative, social, and innovation artifacts in this digital culture. So we define that, as Schiffman said, they're non-trivial for research because they allow us to track social or individual voices in specific times and spaces, especially in particular digital media spaces. So meme, as a digital folklore, can be understood in a broader way. They are more than entertainment, so this is a kind of digital-born folklore. They use, imagine GIFs, they use a looping structure. They had always a layer of meanings because they use the powerful way of reuse and recontextualization, and they influence a lot in digital reading and writing strategies. Not also in a formal writing, for example, in the press, but also in personal writing. They are objects that are commonly used for transmitting feelings, sentiments, and convey certain information. The same happens with GIFs. They can be considered a gender by itself. They have the same features as like speed, effectiveness, viral environment, and so on. And the same as means, they are based on unrecognizable archetypes and situations. So even if both are intentionally not lasting, we can consider them documents, and we can consider them digital ephemeral documents. They are associated with soft news formats. For example, we have here an example of clickbait and social sharing. And they are used, as I'm saying previously, for take social polls or complement to news stories. Let's see, for example, a framework and a space of time where memes were very interesting to analyze. Memes were used during COVID-19 as a humor tool to use it as a collective defense mechanism. So memes during the pandemic were a vital digital artifacts reflecting how we relate or consume information and understand the world. If you remember, there was a tweet account, there was a parody regarding the virus, but they use it as a humor, with a humor intention, as a way of, we say, defense mechanism. To research more about the memes used during pandemics, I will recommend you these articles where we can explore the different reactions against COVID-19 with the use of these ephemeral documents. Let's talk about now the digital archiving strategies. Can memes become future research sources? If we talk about ephemera, even if they are in an analogic or digital way, they're hard to preserve. However, institutions need to develop some kind of strategies to try to stop this digital dark age, because these objects are really difficult to preserve in its natural context. So there are public or private initiatives. There are, for example, visionaries like Bretter Kahl, the owner or the developer of the International Archive, that in this website archive.org preserve web page, ephemeral cinema, TV ads, and so on. And it's Internet Archive, and is famous for its Wayback Machine. There is like a browser, then you can do a forensic, let's say, search about this digital object in the past and how was a web page in the past. There are also the institutional efforts, for example, different national libraries web archiving programs. They are legal deposit. They depend on legal deposit law. So, and these national libraries often are the deposit of these initiatives. Here we have an example about the web in Spanish website from Biblioteca Nacional de España, and they have two different strategies. They have a massive selection of webs, for example, for a particular domain, or different selective collections, like elections or the important historical dates, like terrorist attacks and so on. The same happens in other heritage institutions like Library of Congress, the Australian, British, and French libraries. And there also we have different initiatives like from museums and archives. And here is an example in Spain for the COVID-19, for example. All their initiatives that are collaborative and very participative. And they try to collect and preserve all these daily documents, not only memes, but all these daily documents that people were preserving during pandemics, or to have like a museum, a collective museum. So we have the Museo de Valencia, the Etimología de Valencia, Archivem la COVID, which is an institutional participatory initiative from the Association of Archivists in Catalonia, and the Memories of COVID-19 from the Archives Department in Madrid that involve the citizen. They're very interesting projects. So we have to understand this as information source beyond triviality. They can carry meaning and significance, and there are new ways that help us to contextualize events. They reflect change in traditional mass media. Mass media is not often so fixed, it's mutable, it's user-driven, so they help us to recontextualize culture, and it's a way of understand digital culture as a shared initiative. If we talk to sum up or to have some final thoughts, it's important to consider memes and GIFs and this kind of audiovisual micronarratives as a double perspective. One side is the content, another the medium. It's very difficult to preserve both things encapsulated. So this kind of collective memory is at risk. Libraries and heritage institutions try to include these volatile or ephemera documents in his policies, but it's very difficult to preserve it individually, obviously. So the key question is, what deserves presentation? What kind of memes, or what are the memes that deserve preservation? How do we ensure access in the future for them? Because it's very difficult to give access to the whole object, the content and the medium. And there's collective initiatives, participating initiative like Know Your Meme, which is different. It's not linked to any institution. It's like Wikimedia. It's a collective database of memes, and you can track the meaning of memes and the origin and the uses and the different recontextualization thanks to the work of people and citizens, and with resources of the use. So there are initiatives from people, from the users that help to give context in the future to these objects. And we want to finish with the essential role of librarians and information science professionals. Why? Because these are the heritage of the future. This is the documents of the future, of the present, but obviously of the future. So librarians need to have a very important role in the content curation of these collections, because as we are saying, we cannot collect or preserve everything. We need to create curated collections of memes and GIFs and this kind of digital ephemera, and with a particular content, and we need the important role of information science professionals to give contents and to curate these collections.